So there's a stereotype where Minecraft builders build a base, but they don't live in the base. I've been working on this awesome area for a couple months now, but unfortunately I'm falling into that stereotype. I've been living out here. As you can see, this is kind of my workstation. I actually did put my storage room inside, but it's not exactly finished. In today's video, I plan on finally breaking the stereotype by building an offshore lighthouse somewhere over in that direction. But before I can start building, I'm going to need to gather a long list of materials. So the first material I'm going to need for this project is actually going to be glass. As you can see here, I designed up like a mini super smelter, and I'll show you how it works. You got to take your sand, and then you place it in the top hopper, or minecart hopper, and you flick the lever, and it starts rolling back and forth, which puts the sand into the furnaces, which then carries it all the way over here. And as you can see, I've already collected up a pretty decent amount of sand, or glass, I mean. Another one of the big things I'm going to need for this project is going to be moss. But luckily, for Christmas, another member on the server got me a netherite hoe and a ton of moss, so that is going to be no problem at all. So thank you, Fluff, for this. Collecting the moss with this hoe was literally no problem at all. I got it so fast. So I've got the glass and moss covered now, and then a lot of the wooden things I can just farm up easily enough, but that just leaves the stone to deal with. So for this build, I'm going to need about 1,000 diorite and about 1,000 andesite. Unfortunately for me, my chests are looking a little bit like this. Obviously, I don't want to mine all that stone by hand, so I think there's only one thing that I can do. We have got to take a quick pit stop over to the shopping district. Alright, I just landed here in the shopping district, and I'm gonna buy a beacon from this awesome van over here. As you can see here, they're sold for 15 diamonds per, which is a little bit expensive, but it's gotta be done. So I've been hard at work digging away all of this diorite and andesite that I'm gonna need for this project, thanks to the power of my new beacon. But, that being said, I just remembered I'm gonna need coral for this project. So even though I live right on this big beautiful ocean, there's no coral reef by me. So that means I gotta go travel. So I'm headed through our nether highway right now, which is actually based off of Rainbow Road from Mario Kart, and it's looking awesome, but I'm headed right here to Banana Bee's base, because he lives by a coral reef. Alrighty, here's Banana's base. It's looking absolutely incredible. And as you can see in the distance here, he's got a crazy shipwreck going on, and a whale built by another person on the server. And here's the coral reef, so just keep it a secret between me and you, but I'm gonna pinch just a little bit of coral. Alrighty, a lot of the bulk items are now accounted for, so I just have to get some random things like bamboo fences, orange candles, just some little weird things like that. So I'll do that off camera, and I'll update you guys when I have everything collected. Alrighty, well, I have been gathering materials for probably about 4 or 5 hours at this point. I've got my shulker boxes here. I've got just a bunch of random stuff in here, some wood, glass, tons of stone and stuff. Yeah, it was kind of a lot of work, but got it done, so just gotta wait for these copper things to age, and then we can get onto the build. Alrighty, I'm over here at the Christmas Island, as you can see all these beautiful builds. And one reason I'm here is just because I want to show you guys people's awesome work. You've got Fluff's Toy Factory, Bomb's awesome church, this thing's crazy. But I also wanted to show you this little island down here, because this is going to be important later on. So as you can see, I claimed this island with a little sign, and over there in the horizon is kind of where I'm going to build the main build at. As you can see, I placed another sign down here, but I just wanted to build over a pre-existing island because the ground kind of slopes up already, so it wouldn't be like floating as much whenever I go to build it in. But yeah, without further ado, you guys saw the materials, you saw the location, so all that's left to do is get to building. Alrighty, so I just finished up the build, as you can see right behind me. I'm standing on this moss pillar just because I wanted to get like a little bit better of an angle of the build. But yeah, I'm super happy with how it turned out. I love how it looks like in the horizon. I think I did a pretty good job with all like the shadows and texturing. So all that's left to do is just head on over and talk about some of the choices I made while I was building this thing. Alright, one of the cool things I think about this build is these waves down here. They made out of stained glass, and I ended up shaping them with cyan stained glass. And if I'm being honest, I kind of took this idea from another member on the server. His name's Remy, so shout out to him for this idea. And then for the rocks, I just used some basic shadows and gradients with deep slate and tough and andesite. You know, pretty simple, but I think it gets the job done. As for the foliage, it's pretty simple. I pretty much just used like leaves, firefly bushes, grass, but I did use these blocks. I think they're called nether roots, and I think they just give a nice contrast compared to like the firefly bushes and all the white going on. It just adds a little bit more color in. Another pretty cool detail is the candles on top of the fences here. It kind of makes like the fence a bit more interesting because it has like taller posts, I guess. Then also on the building, I used the coral that you saw earlier on, along with like diorite and pale oak signs to create kind of like a grainy wooden texture. And then down here at the sailboat, I put the same glass effect in the water to make it look like it just sailed into the dock. And also I made this American flag design, which looks pretty cool considering how small it is. Oh, also, I forgot to mention earlier, but I ended up putting leaves in the ground, which is a new thing that a lot of builders are kind of starting to incorporate because it just like creates shadows in the grass. So rather than it being all like uniform in one color like it is over here, it just creates more interest by having like darker shadows, which actually also relates to one of my favorite things about this whole build, which is the forced lighting which I used. So as you can see here, my light source is over in this direction, so this side of the building uses darker blocks as opposed to the front. And then also under the roof, it gets even darker because the shadows are casting down. And then the same thing applies here on the roof back here. I used darker stairs to create a shadow there. Also, there's a shadow being cast from this building onto the lighthouse diagonally here, and then the whole back side of the lighthouse is in shadow because I used a bunch of gray glass and andesite here. And whenever you're up close, I mean, it looks pretty good, but the shadows might be a bit confusing, and honestly, the lighthouse is pretty noisy. But whenever you're far away like this, I think it creates such a nice effect. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything there is to it. You got the sailboat, the island, the actual house, and then the lighthouse. So it's kind of a simple build, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So all that's really left to do at this point is do the inside because it is looking pretty empty right now. I mean, I still even have holes in the floor, but I don't think I'm gonna have time for that today. So that will be a problem for me later on. Alright, so that'll do it for today. I think I made a pretty cool house, and I hope you guys like it too. This is definitely the first time I've made a video like in this style, so if you liked it, please let me know. If there's anything I could have done better, comment down below. But yeah, thank you for watching.